Welcome back. This week we're going to talk about part 2 of the DIY slide out bed. So check it out. Please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. The last time we laid this out and took a look at the plans and got all the materials. Now it's time to switch gears to fabbing and cutting.
So I'm going to cut this aluminum, and I already started a little bit just as a test cut. On my miter saw with a wood blade, with a carbide tipped wood blade and WD-40, just to kind of keep it cool. And I'm taking it slow and doing cuts at a little time, but it's cutting very nicely. And of course it's going to throw all that stuff. Highly recommend you remove the bag. Those metal flakes are going to be hot, probably melt that polyester bag if you have one of these. So cheap Harbor Freight saw that I've used for flooring and all kinds of other stuff. I figured I'd get a few uses out of it, and it's been good. So maybe I'll take a look and see what model this is, because it has worked out good. There it is right there, Chicago Electric. So that one's been pretty good for me. Sometimes Harbor Freight stuff's junk, sometimes it's good. This one happens to be pretty good. So nice and square cuts. I need to trim up a little bit on this long piece. The side pieces I'm going to cut. And I started off with a grinder, but that took a lot of work. So this is going to be a lot faster, a lot easier. Take your time, do it slow. Watch out for that metal coming off. It's very hot. Cut pretty clean, pretty nice. I use plenty of WD-40. You can see it throws metal all over the place. So just be aware of that. Like I said, I think it would catch that bag on fire. So I took it off and let it just throw it around. I'm just going to vacuum that all up with a shop vac and everything. So there you have it, pretty clean cut. I'll probably clean it up just a little bit with a grinder and we should be good. Okay, my cuts are made. I'm kind of mocking it up in the bed to make sure everything is cut right. There's a couple issues. These are out of the way for right now, just for fitting for the height. Just to get everything kind of leveled in there. But I'm gonna have to actually move these in. That means they're gonna be sitting in that valley. So I'm gonna have to put some kind of spacer under those. So that I have somewhere to screw the hinge into. So the hinge is right here, if you can see. And the other hinge is over here. And I've cut the knob off of it. I need to figure out a string or something to be able to pull it open. So same thing over here. It's going to be in that valley. So I have to put a couple spacers in it. I need some height anyway because the tailgate goes up just a little bit. So I'm going to get some height on the bottom, just a little bit spacer. I can play around with that with washers or something on these outer ones. And then I just need to get it right for where I actually put a couple nutserts into the wheel wells of the truck. So it's going to basically be like a drawer, and the wheel wells are going to be support there. These will be the support out on the ends. The idea is to try to keep this light and short as I can. So that's sort of the idea. Hopefully this works out. I'm going to braze this together. Basically just lap joint these, braze them across. I know it's not going to be exactly, finished looking because the top's going to be a little taller in the back, but I'm okay with that. I think this will be a lot stronger. That's 3/8 aluminum, and then there's going to be a piece of, 5/8 plywood on top for the decking. So that's sort of the idea. It's a work in progress. I need to get a nutsert tool. I had a nutsert tool and I cannot find it. So I gotta get a new one to put some nutserts in. There's blind screw-in rivets, riv nuts, nutserts. I got a couple different names. So I gotta get another one of those tools and do that. So that's kind of the holding pattern right now on a sheet of plywood. I have a sheet around here and I think I'm coming up a little short, so I gotta go to the store and get another one. So stay tuned, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Just giving you an update of where I'm at. Brazing did not work. I think the metal's too thick. Been a long time since I messed with aluminum, and I've brazed little pieces of aluminum before, but the MAP gas just not hot enough to braze this. So I kind of abandoned that for right now, and I'm just drilling some holes and using some temporary hardware to hold it together. And I'm gonna get some longer kind of carriage bolts that go through the plywood and attach it. So just basically putting a couple in each corner, bolting it together, and then the plywood should hopefully keep it all together, but we'll see. So drilling the last couple holes, test fitted, everything fits, and it should work. So that's the decking part. It should be done today, and then I gotta get a nutsert and get it attached to the truck and get that all leveled out and the height right. So that'll be the next part, so stay tuned. So here's a look at everything fitted in the bed. basically everything's just bolted together with temporary hardware right now because I'm going to have the bolts actually go through the plywood decking, which I need to go get. I also need to figure this out. I got to get some nutserts and figure that height and everything out so that this thing can pull out. But overall, I'm reasonably happy with it. I'm kind of disappointed I could not get the brazing to work. I thought that would add some rigidity to it, so hopefully the plywood does what it needs to do. Maybe I'll get a 3/4 inch piece of plywood so it's thicker and tougher.
So life got in the way. I installed my best top super top in the meanwhile. Went hunting, camping, off-road in the middle of this build. That really showed me why I wanted to get this thing to slide out. Then we went down to the Lowe's and got some plywood decking and outdoor carpet so I could continue this build and get this thing done so I could use it for my Yellowstone trip.
All right, so what I'm going to do here is there's a little part right here on the bed and then up there by the front that are higher than the rest. So what will happen is this thing will hit. Let me back this up and show you. If you have this thing snug against the bottom. See right there? Bad camera work, but it runs into the bottom of the bed because it's a little bit lower. So what's happened is there's a high point back or up at the front, and then there's a low point here. So I'm going to use this 3/4 inch decking to give me a 3/4 inch buffer, and as you can see, that lets me get some clearance here. Out here I'll have plenty of clearance, and if it sags a little bit, that'll be okay. So that's the idea, that's the theory. I'm going to go against here. I got a riv nut tool. I'm going to try to get this nice and even and drill some holes into the wheel well carefully there because I have no idea what's behind there. So I'm going to be careful and get a riv nut on those. And there are at least 3. There's several down there, but I'm going to get at least 3 into that wheel well. And then out here I have a support. These guys. I'm going to have that bolted into the bottom of the truck of the bed and then bolt the rail into the side of it. So it should work out good. We're going to find out. Stay tuned. So I got this Rough Country nutsert tool on Amazon. We'll see how it works. There it is. We'll give this a shot. So we got the first hole drilled. Gotta get in there and get it steadied up and then drill and mark some of the other holes. Mark and drill some of the other holes. So there's really nothing to this. You pretty much put this in the hole. So I got the right mandrel in there. Got a little bit of black RTV. Pretty much get this lined up in the hole. This is quite difficult to do with one hand. So I'm going to switch to 2 hands and do it. But pretty much you just close that thing. If it's in the wrong depth, you can adjust this a little bit. And then you back the thing out of it. Pretty easy. And voila, there it is. A hole with a riv nut in it. Okay, so you can see the shape of this. Hopefully you can see this. This is indented here, so this is in a little bit. So I'm going to use a couple washers in here. It looks like maybe 3 to stack up and make it nice and flush. I also drilled another hole right through into the bed to the wheel well, which I wasn't crazy about. I was trying to get it behind the plastic so it was seamless, but there's going to end up being a bolt through there. No way around that at this point. No big deal. But yeah, I'm going to use a couple washers, look like 3, and stack them up between there. I'm probably just going to hold them on with RTV. Okay, so I ended up using 2 riv nuts up at the front, and then there's just 2 screws. They have to be screw heads to clear. And I just put some nuts out of the way in the wheel well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint these black and cut them off flush so they're not sticking out, but easy peasy. I was originally trying to stay away from that and not be able to see it, but you know what? I slipped and went right through, and so I ended up just doing it for both of them. Easy access, and I don't have to remove this stupid fender flare. So I'm going to cut these short so they're not a hazard to a tire or anything, and paint them black just so they're not ugly. Okay, on to the next problem. So out here, and I'll show you this, there's a hole in this sliding mechanism to get to these other mounting holes, and there's one there, and you'll notice there's nothing here to bolt to, and there's one here, and again, nothing to bolt to. then there's one out here, nothing to bolt to. And that's where these pieces come in. This is 3/8 inch aluminum that I used for the frame. And then these are the cutoffs. And so I actually got this length because I knew I was going to need extra. So I'm trying to be economical as possible. This stuff's expensive. This is pretty stout. So I figured, oh, I'll just slide that in there, of course. The folks at Jeep have other plans for me. So you'll see here in a second, it doesn't span that gap in there. So I got some wrap plywood I'm going to stick in there as a filler. And I'm just going to cut it about that length and then stick this plywood in there as a spacer to get this nice and flush and level there. So that's the next part, and then I'll drill holes and put some bolts in there. So not particularly pretty, but it doesn't need to be. It's just a spacer. This is going to go on top of it, if I can get this in here, and then it sits flush. So mission accomplished there. We'll get this all drilled, and I'll get some riv nuts into the bed, and then we'll get the fasteners on there and get that thing situated, and I'll move on to the other side and do the exact same thing, which I probably won't show because it's exactly the same. So status update. So what I've been able to do is I got some nut certs in the bed. I got this piece of metal in here. I got this one with a bolt, and it does clear the bolt, luckily. I wasn't sure if it would or not. And then I got to drill the other holes in there. So there's two other holes somewhere in there. There's the other one in there. And then of course I've got a nutcert spinning here. I think I can actually get to it underneath and put a bolt on there instead. We're gonna see. If I can't, I don't know what I'll do. I'll drill it out and put a bigger one, I guess. All right, so I'm test fitting this. I've got the holes drilled in all of these, so you can see, and I got a couple bolts in there, and it seems to work. See how it closes, that's a good thing. This pulls out. So this seems to function okay. Now, they say that these pair of hinges can hold 500 pounds. I'm pretty skeptical of that, but I guess we're gonna see. I'll probably try to work something out for the middle of this too, for support. We'll figure that out. So the passenger side was a little smoother because I'd already done the driver's side and I just used it as a template. So it seems to work pretty well. I got all the holes in the right places. And I'm trying to get these tight in here as I can. Then I'll have to make enough room in the wood for that to go there, and I'll probably have to put something in there to keep crap from going down in there. So that's the update. I've got both of these. I'm going to put the next cross rails together and start making it look like a bed tray. So you can see how these fit. And so what I've done is I got them tight so you don't even have to like put a wrench on the other side. You can just do this, and I'm trying to keep them as low profile and this as high as I can. So you see how you tighten this. There's a little hole in here for access. And that's how I lined it up and everything too. So this seems to be working pretty good. I think I have a couple more screws, then this will be done. Well, there you have it. It's sort of mocked up. I got a carriage bolt for the wood. I got to get the wood fitted properly. My hinge, my latch is not working. It's stuck. And so I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I'm able to pull it out, and then it'll hang up a little bit, and I can just kind of pull it past it. Might have to come up with another kind of latch mechanism, but that's the idea. And I don't know how much. I don't think I would put 500 pounds on this. That's what they say it holds, but it's pretty cool. It's functioning, and it's got little kinks to iron out here. Work in progress.
Thanks for watching, and coming soon is part 3, the final assembly and reveal, and my initial thoughts on it. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for updates for part 3. JTRSPARTACUS out.